We've come to Closutton Stables in County Carlow, base of Ireland's champion jumps trainer Willie Mullins. He's Ireland's most successful ever trainer at the Cheltenham Festival with 33 winners, and he'll have a team of around 50 horses going to the meeting this year. We started off by having a look at some of his crack hurdlers, including dual champion Hurricane Fly and Faheen, favourite for this year's renewal of the Stan James Champion Hurdle.
You know, I'd love, I suppose, Hurricane Fly to win. He'd been a great servant to us, and it'd be a magic day if he could come up the third time in that manner to win it like that after 2 breaks and then come back. And he's doing everything right this year. I think the reason he's the price he is just his age. But 11-year-olds have won it before. As they say, you know, form is temporary but class is permanent, and he's got that, and he keeps producing it every year. And this year again, he's doing what he's doing, beating the reigning champion hurdler, Jeski, and he can't do any more. Faheen is the new kid on the block. He's the one that everyone's excited about. You know, really, he hasn't beaten a horse that would finish in place in the champion hurdle yet, but the manner of the way he's doing it in his preparations means that he potentially has all that class to do that. We know he handles the track in Cheltenham. I think the faster pace of a champion hurdle will suit him rather than the Neptune last year, where I think, you know, just not going as fast as he wants to jump just upset him a little bit. And then I'm not going to forget Arctic Fire. He's doing everything right just behind Jeski and Hurricane Fly this year. And I think also he was only beaten ahead in the county hurdle last year after getting bumped by one of our stablemates or his stablemates. You know, so he's going to be there at a nice price as well for people who mightn't want the shorter prices of the other horses. Faheen, I think he'll handle any ground. He has some good form on very heavy ground, but I think he handles good ground. Certainly his action looks like that. Everyone says that Hurricane Fly probably needs wetter ground than we usually encounter at Cheltenham, but it's probably too early to tell, but people are saying that it could be a wetter ground this year than other years. And Arctic Fire, I think, will handle either ground as well.
And would I be right in saying that you don't really weigh in with the theory that Hurricane and Cheltenham sort of he's a better horse elsewhere?
No, I think he's had 4 runs at Cheltenham, 1-2. One year the ball didn't hop his way during the race and it didn't work out. And last year he was only going through the motions, I think, in his training, but he wasn't working bad enough to say not to run. But I felt we went there hoping for the best, but he was only going through the motions at home, and I think for his last 2 runs, and I was wondering, was this the end of him? You know, we asked ourselves a question, myself, Frank Boyd, George Crichton, Andrew, you know, all the owners involved and jockeys, Ruby riding him. And I just felt that he deserved another chance to come back this season, put him in training. If he wasn't firing, we needn't run him. But we felt he was doing enough for the Morgiana in Punchestown, and I had him readier for that this year's Morgiana than ever before. And he came and beat Jeski, and that was good enough for me. We just kept training him, and I said, you know, I think it's the case that if he doesn't perform or doesn't look like he wants to perform, then we might call it a day. But at the moment, everything is going well with him.
And moving on to Annie Power, we haven't seen her in action this season because of a setback. Could you just outline what exactly the setback was and how she's progressing?
Well, she had a pre-stress fracture. I mean, we have fractures, we have stress fractures, now we have pre-stress fractures. But it's funny, we're getting her ready for the Hatton's Grace, and she just wasn't pulling out with the same bounce every morning. We knew there was something wrong, we couldn't put our finger on it. So her last bit of work before the Hatton's Grace, I got Katie Walsh to ride her, not telling her anything that there was anything wrong with her. I just legged her up on her and told her to go and do the work, and she said she worked fantastically. And I came home from the work thinking, that's great, whatever was wrong was just maybe a warming up issue. But the following morning, she was a little bit worse again, and then I decided we better stop, sent her off for x-rays, bone scans, scintigraphy, I think it is, and all that's very expensive to do. You mightn't do it with a normal sort of run-of-the-mill horse, but she's worth spending the money on. And they came back with a few areas in her hind legs where they felt that if she had the stress of a race or another heavy gallop, we might get a stress fracture or even a fracture. We just took their advice. We knew there was something wrong, so we at least now we think we had it pinpointed. And the first thing was to give her a month off, and then I said, right, let's do that, and we might get her back for Cheltenham. Not thinking we would get her back for Cheltenham, but at least it was something to aim at. Gave her the month off, started her back riding. She hasn't missed a day since, and probably back in work as soon as I wanted her and doing everything right. So it looks to have paid off the rest we did. And I think with jumpers you can do that. Probably with flat horses people are keener to move them on. You know, they run at 2 and 3 and pass them on at 4 unless they're either stallions going to stud or unless they're going to run in Grade 1 races. But with jumpers we can run in Grade 1 races for 4 or 5 years after, but you've got to mind them. And I just felt it was the right thing to do.
She met her only defeat in the World Hurl last year. But the mare's hurl is the preferred option on this occasion.
I think so. I think trying to prepare one to win the World Hurdle without a run this season, especially a mare with her nature. She was very keen in the World Hurdle last year, and that was with 2 or 3 runs under her belt, or probably more. But this year, no run means she'll probably start off, just nervous energy, a horse having their first run, especially around the likes of Cheltenham. I think she could be too keen. So I think now the mare's hurdle looks the option.
We saw her out on your gallops going around on her own and wearing a hood. Any significance in that at all?
None. It's just very windy morning this morning, and I think a hood just keeps her that little bit more settled. Whether she wears one in a race, I don't know. I'll probably forget to declare it anyhow. So.
Glens Melody finished second to Quevega in the mare's hurl last year. She's going again.
Yeah. Yes, Fiona McStay owns Glens Melody, and I thought Fiona might keep the mare to breed from this year. But I think she was very keen after Cheltenham last year that she'd come back and have a go at the mare's hurdle this year. And everything is working out good so far. She won in Warwick. I think the mare is progressing into the mare she was last year, and might even be better. She had a little setback early in the season, but she seems to have got over that now, so I couldn't be happier with her going there.
Staying with the hurlers, the novice division, the first race of the meeting, the Supreme Novices, you've got a hot favourite there in Duvan.
Duvan, yeah. Duvan has done everything we've ever asked him. Any bit of work he's done it well. We've brought him to the track twice. He's done it well. The form of his races is working out well. I avoided the Deloitte. I thought it might just come too hard at a crucial point, and came back to Punchestown for the race, the Vitour one, and took that route to Cheltenham. I hope it's the right one. I think it jumps well enough, and so I'm very happy with him at the moment.
Staying with the novice hurlers, Nicholas Canyon, you have a sort of a range of entries for him.
Yeah, owned by Mr. Wiley. We've got Shane's Hill and Nicholas Canyon for the Supreme and the Neptune. And depending on how Shane's Hill works between now and Cheltenham, he will go probably for the Supreme Novice, and that leaves the Neptune for Nicholas Canyon, and Black Hercules for the Bartlett. So
all the same ownership. Yeah.
All the same ownership. So I think they will. I would imagine that's the way they'll go.
And Outlander.
Outlander would, to me, at this point, look like the Neptune. Disappointed going a longer trip. Came back on better ground to 2.5 the last day in Leopardstown, and put in a fantastic performance. So to me, unless Gigginstown have some other horse better over that trip, I think that's where he will go.
Other novices, Alvisio won well first time out. Disappointed a bit then at Leopardstown.
He did too much. He's too green. I think he's in the Supreme Novice. I'm not sure it's the right race for him, probably wrong. I know he has the ability for it, but at this point in his career, I'm just wondering if it's too hard for him, but it's probably more than likely the race he'll go for. I think he's still in the Neptune.
The JCB Triumph Hurl, you've 3 genuine contenders there, the Costumo, Petit Parisien and Calcare.
Yes, Petit Parisien is probably the favourite at the moment of our 3 on that good performance in Leopardstown. She was very unlucky in Punchestown her first run, and we decided then to have a crack at the 2 grade 1s, the one in Leopardstown and the Triumph Hurdle. And if she managed, if she didn't manage to win one of those, she would be a lovely novice for next season. So now she's gone on 1, so we head for the Triumph. She will improve. Calcare ran a fantastic race, so they meet on the same terms again in Cheltenham. On the bare form of it, it would look hard for him to reverse it. I think he could improve more, that's the only thing. She is a professional racehorse coming off the flat, knew how to race when she took him on. He will probably take more home from that race and learn more than she will. And then Di Cosimo, the horse that was 3rd in Petit Parisien's race on a strict line of form, puts Di Cosimo in front of the 2 of them. His run in Gorn was fantastic. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
He didn't jump brilliantly, but he went away and won it very well.
He did, and the track like Cheltenham, I think, might suit him better. They'll be going faster, and he will get a chance to show off his stamina. He'll probably have to jump a little better, but I think he will.
We've seen the Mullins team of hurdlers for the festival. One I particularly like is Nicholas Canyon, who's likely to go in the Neptune Investment Management Novices Hurdle. Coming up in part 2, we'll have a look at the chasers, including crack novices Andesau, Don Poli and Voiture.